Hi guys! So, if you remember, in our last lessons we dedicated some classes to learning how to conjugate the Spanish modal verbs, okay? And we had left for this class the verb to must, or deber. However, deber is a regular verb, okay? So we do not need to give it, although it is a very important verb in Spanish, because of course all modal verbs are particularly important. However, since it is a regular verb, and I have already given you the tools for conjugating all regular verbs into all the different Spanish verbal tenses, right? So we won't see how to conjugate again the verb deber. However, there is another verb that is also used with the same meaning, right? The verb tener, and this one is irregular. So we will dedicate this class to seeing how to conjugate this verb. So what does tener mean? Tener means to have, right? Tener is exactly to have. And it also has this other use that the verb to have has in English, okay? So to have can mean I have something, right? I have a pen. And to have can also mean to must, right? For example, I can say I have to go, right? Means I must go. In Spanish, the verb tener has also this same function if we complement it with the word que, okay? So, tener means to have, and tener que means to have to, right? So, this verb, tener, when we complement it with the word que after it, it means it is a synonym of the verb deber. That means the verb to must, okay? So we can treat the verb tener as a regular, it's not a regular verb, it's an irregular verb, but like as a normal verb, right? And also as a modal verb, okay? So it's, if we use it as a modal verb, we have to add the word que after the verb, okay? And it is irregular, so we will give it special attention, okay? So our title today is Conjugación del verbo tener que. Conjugación del verbo tener que, or conjugation of the verb tener que, or to have to, right? So we will see present tense, or simple present, simple past, present continuous, two different future tenses, okay, for simple future, and the imperative in the affirmative and in the negative, right? So let's begin with the present tense. Oh, first of all, let's identify the root of the verb, right? Er is the ending of the verb. Er, it's a verb of the second group. And ten is the root of the verb, right? So, whenever the root of the verb changes, that means it is an irregularity. If the root of the verb remains untouched or the same, it means that it conjugates regularly, okay? Let's begin with the present tense, presente. Yo tengo, I have, or yo tengo que, I have to. Tú tienes, you have, or tú tienes que, you have to. Él or ella tiene, or él o ella tiene que. He or she has, or he, she has to. Nosotros tenemos, or nosotros tenemos que. We have, or we have to. Vosotros tenéis, you have. Vosotros tenéis que, you have to. Ustedes tienen, you have. Ustedes tienen que, you have to. and ellos tienen, they have, ellos tienen que, they have to. For example, they have to go, ellos tienen que ir, right? So remember, vosotros and ustedes are synonyms. They mean you plural. But vosotros is used in Spain, ustedes is used in Latin America, right? And the conjugation is different for both of them. Ustedes conjugates the same as ellos, as they, right? Let's go to the pasado simple, or simple past. In Spanish, we also call the simple past pretérito indefinido. Yo tuve, or yo tuve que. I had, or I had to. Tú tuviste. Él, ella tuvo. Nosotros tuvimos. Vosotros tuvisteis. Ustedes tuvieron. And ellos tuvieron. Ellos tuvieron. They had. Or ellos tuvieron que. They had to. Right? Now let's identify where the verb became irregular. Okay? You can see the root of the verb is ten. So where the root has changed, it has become irregular. Okay? Here, it's not so noticeable, but it's irregular because it added the G. Okay? And if you remember, when I taught you how to conjugate the verbs, for the present tense, for the I or yo, it just needs to add an O to the root of the verb, right? That's for the regular verbs. So here, the root of the verb has added a G, right? If this were regular, this would conjugate as teno, but we add a G, tengo. Okay, that's why here it is irregular. Here it's also irregular, and it's more visible because the root of the verb changed from ten to tien, right? Here as well. Here it's regular, and nosotros tenemos, right? Here it is regular. You can see how this remained unchanged, the same, okay? Here it's also regular. Here it became irregular again, and irregular again, okay? Now in the past, the root of the verb changes even more. From ten, it changed to tuv, right? Again, tuv. So you can see how much the root of the verb tener has changed for the simple past, okay? Now let's see the present continuous, right? I am having to, or I am having, right? Yo estoy teniendo, or yo estoy teniendo que. I am having, or I am having to. Tú estás teniendo. Él, or ella, está teniendo. Nosotros estamos teniendo. Vosotros estáis teniendo. Ustedes están teniendo. And ellos están teniendo. Right? So here, as usual, for the present continuous, we have nothing awkward. It's always the same. This will remain the same, right? Right? This will always remain the same for all the verbs we want to conjugate in present continuous, and then we add this, the ending, to the verb we want to conjugate, okay? In this case, the verb tener, teniendo, okay? Let's see the future. This is the simple future, the typical future tense in Spanish, okay?